Hey, it's Clay at claytrader.com. This will be my top 10 stocks as we head into Monday, February 24th. This will be a technical analysis breakdown, so if you are someone that uses charts within your trading, or maybe you're interested in learning more about charts and how they can be used as a tool to help make good decisions as a trader, this will be a video for you. First off, a couple clarifications. Number one, the candlestick that you see right there will be moving around and changing. That is because the market's still open for a small amount of time. But I like to do these videos when the market is still open because sometimes we can capture some really interesting late day price movement. Second, I'll be using the 30-minute time frame, meaning each one of these candlesticks here, as they're called, represents 30 minutes worth of time. So stock number one, ticker symbol MLGO, and I state the obvious when I say this, but what a crazy monster move. This was actually alerted in my private chat room at 3:22, and I'm not saying anybody played it perfectly, but crazy to think that, you know, a member could have bought the breakout 3:22 and potentially had it all the way up to where it went. But anyway, look at it, monster movement here. So let's get some key levels here mapped out as we head into next week. So the first level that I think a lot of people will be watching is just that trend line right there. I think quite a few people have probably put that trend line in there. And to make the comment about quite a few people, because when there are lots of people watching the same levels and wondering the same thing, call it a self-fulfilling prophecy, call it whatever you want. It can produce some very dynamic movement. So keep an eye on that. And then as far as areas of support are concerned, we have this level right here. So green for support. And to make this all the same color, so we have our area of resistance, we have our area of support, we have the big upwards move right there. And then for you golfers, try to make it a little bit more visual, put the golf hole down here. This would be a bull pennant pattern. Now, just because something's a bullish pattern does not mean for sure guaranteed the price is going to go upwards. But would it be shocking? Would it just be like, whoa, where did that come from? If the price were to eventually come up here, get the break, and then that break creates additional buying pressure, that would not be, that would not be shocking at all. Although as I talk here, the price is coming down. So I do want to map out one more area of support just in case this pattern does fail to the downside, with the next key area of support then being down here right around $4.80. And if 4.80 cents is tested and the price breaks below there, at that point, I would start to say something looks to be wrong. But right now, I wouldn't say anything's wrong. Nothing can go straight up. It's just pulling back. It's still within the pattern. But again, if the pattern does break to the downside, 480 would be that next key level of support. But we'll see how it goes next week. Next one, HOLO, and overall a very eventful day and sort of hard to talk about from a presentation standpoint because it's all about perspective. If you're some sort of day trader, flipper, scalper, and you bought up there and your plan was to buy and sell within, 13 minutes, and from that standpoint, yeah, the chart's looking really, really bad. But if you do care about the bigger picture point of view, yes, there was a big pullback here, but to give credit's due, the price has done a fantastic job of staying up above that pink line there, which is the 200 period moving average. So moving into next week, that would certainly be what I would consider the ideal level. I mean, if I ask Clay, what would make this chart look the strongest? And that would be, again, staying above that pink line there, which currently valued at $1.37. So keep an eye on that moving forward. If the price does fall below there, then I would call a must-hold level down here, that purple line there, 50 period moving average. And I'm not saying this will occur, but if the price were to come down here and break through there, at that point, you basically have the price having right back, going right back to where it was. That's not exactly a sign of strength when price movement, makes a big explosion and then goes back to where it was. In terms of areas of resistance in the near term, key battleground and any sort of attempted turnaround back upwards, in my mind, right around that $1.58 mark. But overall, very crazy day. Overall, the chart still has plenty of opportunity to build a higher base, and that's the name of the game. Next one here, BURU, and basically same exact thing of what I just talked about, so I'm going to go through it a little bit quicker. Day trader, flipper, scalper, if you bought up here, then yeah, for you, the chart's looking very rough. But if you like and care about the bigger picture point of view, then overall, the chart's fine. It's got the pullback. It's got that 200 period moving average right there, which is what would make the chart look the strongest. But like I said, the previous one that I just talked about, if the price were to come down to that purple line and break down through it, you have the same problem. You have the price essentially going right back to where it was, which is just not a sign of power for a price to explode and then go back to where it was. So I know I'm going through this quicker, but like I said, we literally just essentially had this as, same general idea of a pattern. In terms of areas of resistance, looks as though that key level to break back above right there at 37 cents. But like I said, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view, the chart still got that opportunity to chip away and build a higher base. Next one, PLTR, was starting off trying to be strong, and then today, obviously, the market got hammered, and PLTR was no exception. But to be fair, I'm glad and good to see that $100 is holding, because if you are bullish, that's a very important level, because if the price were to come down to that level and break down below it, we have the same general idea that I've been talking about. The price essentially has gone right back to where it was. So in other words, that would be implying that the price made a great bounce to then just go right back to where it was. Again, not exactly a sign of genuine power. But as of right now, 100 is holding. So you can still make the argument that this thing is just, still a strong, healthy bounce. Because if we were to do something like that, what would you have? Well, you'd have a set of lows right there. You'd have lows right there. And then if you picture those as stair steps, that's the name of the game. Those stair steps would be making progress in the upwards direction. So genuine power is not going straight up. Nothing goes straight up. Genuine power is at least showing signs of progress. And again, in this situation, the quote-unquote sign of progress being staying above that $100 mark. In terms of areas of resistance, if there is any sort of bounce, keep a close eye on that 200 period moving average right now valued at 107.60. Next one here, NVDA, and things are looking rough here. Again, to be fair, the overall markets got destroyed. So it's not like the markets were booming and NVDA was behaving like this. But nonetheless, it's now broken down through this 136 mark, which sort of puts the chart in a somewhat of a no man's land. And while I'm not saying it's guaranteed to happen, and I'm not saying that the price is going to drop straight down to that pink line there, I don't think that would necessarily be a shocking development. I could see, like I said, not going straight down, but is there going to be now some sort of drift down to do battle and test that 200 period moving average? I think that's a plausible conclusion because, yeah, the floodgates opened up quite a bit today. Now down below that 136 mark, which is the first update. When levels of support are broken and closed below, they tend to act as resistance. So keep a close eye on the 136 mark. If NVIDIA does try to curl back upwards, that'll be the first kind of question mark in the sense of, all right, yeah, it's bouncing a little bit, but does there have any, is it strong enough to even push above that area right there? And then, yeah, you still have this overarching trend line, but I'm actually just going to get rid of that. It served its purpose for now. And in the near term, you'll want to watch out purple line there, 50 period moving average, which will, continue to curl back over. So as next week plays out, it's eventually going to form kind of basically a downtrending trend line like that to keep an eye on. But yeah, overall, rough way to end the week here for NVIDIA. Real quick, want to take a break and personally invite you to get signed up for this free live online webinar that I'm offering next week. So if you've been enjoying what you've seen and you want to learn more about this tool, how it can and should be used to build consistency and manage risk, then definitely get signed up for the free live class. If you're watching on YouTube, there's a link down in the description box you can use, or if you're watching at my website, there's an area right there on the webpage that you can use to sign up. So like I said, if you've been enjoying, then definitely get signed up for the free class. Next one here, TSLA Tesla, and this will mean a little bit more of those of you that watched the previous video, but if you did, hopefully remember me talking about this, wedge right here, and specifically that trend line at that point, and you can see price broke below it. Now at that break, as I mentioned, yeah, I like the odds that it would come down to that area right there, but I mean, was there anything that suggested it would get that nasty? No, absolutely not. But yeah, the wedge breakdown, and then that wedge just broke and got a whole lot of downside pressure. So I'm just going to go get rid of those lines if they serve their purpose for now. In terms of next potential areas where the price could be headed, as far as supports are concerned, so green for support. Next over, is the price? Okay, actually, no, okay, never. So 335.50, as right now, good to see that it's holding strong. This was actually a bounce point from right here. So right now, the price is still indeed going sideways at that level. So in the very near term, 335.50 going to be an important level. If that level cannot hold up, then again, I'm not saying the price drops straight down to that area, or let alone it's guaranteed to go down to that area. But I think there's a very realistic possibility that the price could then venture and maybe drift its way down to that 329 mark. So 335.50, 329, two of the near term areas of resistance. If there is any sort of bounce back in the upwards direction, first key battleground going to be right here around that 342.50 mark. And if the price can push up through there, then yeah, maybe you can start to focus more so on that 50 period moving average, which, I mean, look at this. Talked about this yesterday, but look how it went into acting as resistance. Rejected the price. So as next week plays out, because that is a moving average, that line is going to move itself lower and get more and more relevant, which will be eventually a downtrending trend line that draws itself for you. But again, before you really put too much emphasis on that at all, first got to see if the price can push up through that 342.50 mark. But yeah, no doubt about it. Rough way to the end of the week for Tesla. Next one, SMCI. And I will say, all things considered, this one is hanging in there very, very nicely. Think about NVIDIA, think about Tesla and PLTR. And this one, yeah, it's pulled back from the highs, but overall, the chart still very much so in an uptrending, trend. And this level right here, I would definitely say 6160 is a key level of resistance. You can see once again this morning was an area where the price got a little hopeful and then just crashed it right back down. But what I want to do here, because I think more people might be doing something like this because it's relatively straightforward. And I like these relatively straightforward dynamics because this is where you can get those potential self-fulfilling prophecies. But you got to think a ton of people have drawn a trend line like that. So as I've said a million times, and we'll say a million more times, there are no guarantees. But is it reasonable? Is it plausible to think that if the price were to come up to that area and get a break up through there, that break in and of itself could create additional buying pressure. That is certainly a plausible scenario. So you're going to want to keep a close eye on that resistance line right there. If this pullback does continue, then yeah, you do have this 51 mark down here. But I will say that after today's price movement, there does seem to be a near-term area of support right here around that level of 54.25. So if 54.25 doesn't hold, you got to like the odds that the price at least drifts down to the 51 mark. But once more, no guarantee, so manage that risk and trade appropriately. But these are definitely, at least in my opinion, that stand out to me. But certainly that, trend line resistance right there, certainly an interesting dynamic headed into next week. Next one here, NAAS, and there's no doubt about it. There's no reason to beat around the bush. This is an ugly looking chart. I mean, to think at one point the price was all the way up here and now it's came all the way down here. But you longer time viewers, you know what I'm going to say next. There can be opportunity in the ugly. Now, these are situations where you better be very disciplined. You better be able to, manage risk. But while there are no guarantees, right now the price from up here has come all the way down here. It looked very, very ugly, but it's still actually up above both of these very key moving averages. The 200 period moving average pink line, 50 period moving average purple line. And while there are no guarantees, is it valid to think that if the price comes down here, it could bounce, especially when this is a former area of resistance? And when resistances are broken, they do tend to act as support. Yes, it is a valid thought to say, you know what? I think, yes, this is a falling knife right now, but I could see the knife stopping to fall and at least getting some sort of bounce. But from a risk versus reward scenario, relative to what's being risked, again, assuming you're going to be a disciplined trader, even if you get a modest bounce, the reward portion relative to the risk portion could be really in your favor. So if you like these scenarios where everybody thinks it's the worst thing ever, everybody is just, disgusted by the hideousness of it all, and you're looking for that opportunity where things tend to all of a sudden just spring back upwards, this could be a very interesting scenario. Next one here, NIO, and a very tricky one because it's all about that perspective. Day traders, flippers, scalpers, if you're buying up around there and wanting to, scalp out on momentum, 10 minutes later, then from that angle, the chart has become a train wreck. Overall, though, big picture-wise, the chart's hanging in there. Yes, definitely a disappointing day when you consider the price was here. Even right here, the price was consolidating, and now it's gotten the break to the downside. I can see how it's a disappointing day, but think about that word day, as in a single day. When you take a step back and look at multiple days, the price is still in an overall uptrend. The price does still have the opportunity to build these higher bases, and that's really what you want to see. So, just from the low standpoint, there was a low right here, and then lows right here, and then lows right here. And even if that low right there holds, and if you envision those as stair steps, there is still the opportunity to show signs of progress. Again, yes, would have been way more better and attractive had the price maintained itself up around there, but it can't always do that. But as long as the price is chipping away and building higher bases, that is still fully intact. Another way, if you wanted to, to view all this, is you could just get a trend line into play right there. So that'd be another choice of kind of just gauging the overall health of things. Because in theory, think about it, the price could do all sorts of crazy things, but as long as the price stays above that line, then by definition, because that would be the requirement to stay above that line, is the price has got to build higher bases, then overall the trend would still be in the bullish direction. If the price does try to head back upwards, key area of resistance on any sort of attempt to move back up right around the $4.52 mark. So yes, today, somewhat disappointing, but looking at multiple days here, you can see the trend is still up. Next one, QBTS, and I'm going to go through this quickly because basically a broken record of what I just talked about. Day traders, flippers, scalpers, that bar right there, yeah, not a good day for you at all. And a disappointing day for it to be up there and then for it to pull all the way back. With all that being said, a day, as in one day. Looking at multiple days, the trend is still upwards. You still have overall higher lows. So low there, low there, low there. And if these lows hold, then yeah, you still have the stair steps progressing in the upwards direction. So nothing to panic about, assuming you care about the bigger picture point of view. Like I said, still plenty of opportunity to build those higher bases. The price is still nicely above both these moving averages, which have nice upward slopes to them. So again, big picture, and I don't mean to repeat myself, but I just want to emphasize I'm talking about things from distinct points of view because I understand I can sound crazy to the day trader that bought right there calling things bullish, but that's why I'm emphasizing, assuming you care about the bigger picture, the trend is still in the upwards direction. As far as if this is going to try to, push back up to those highs, main area of resistance initially, I think, going to be right there around the $7.50 mark. So all in all, disappointing day, yes, but looking at multiple days, the trend is still in the bull's favor. So that wraps up the top 10 list. Again, if you like what you saw here and you want to get signed up for the free live class next week, it'll be Thursday, February 27th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. So I hope to see you there. As far as these top 10 videos are concerned, if you enjoy these, then please hit that like button. And also, if you're looking for a super free and easy way to support the channel, please hit that subscribe button. That really does help out. So I thank you in advance for doing that. So thanks for watching. Have a great weekend, and make sure you get signed up for the free class next week.